We are Ole Miss Rebels. As Mississippi's flagship university, we dig deeper, see farther, work harder. We pioneered human organ transplants. We helped prove Einstein's theory of gravitational waves. We are conducting life-changing research that solves the problems of today. We are Ole Miss, transforming lives and the world.
Hey, welcome to the POMcast with Stephen Willis. We're going to start in a few minutes, but I want to tell you to hit up our social sites, retweet, share, comment, like, do all of that stuff. It can only help us out and it'll make the show even better. But we're getting ready to give you a lot of good Ole Miss information, and I just thought I would tell you that because the POMcast is starting. Well, it's starting right now. Wait, no, that's a little early. It is starting right about now. Good morning. Welcome to the POMcast. I'm your host, Stephen Willis. This is going to be a recorded version of the POMcast. So the chat will not be open today because my mom is in town and I want to hang out with her. So I do want to get with you and tell you all that and get the reaction of everything that went on with the game this weekend. Like I told you before, if we're talking about that game still, something terrible happened. We're not really talking about that game. We're going to move on to Tulane. Ole Miss, a couple of touchdown favorite in that game. But before we get started, I do want to tell you about Travel and Cruise World. That's 1-800-330-7461. 1-800-330-7461, and they can help you out with your vacations, all about Central Florida. Also want to tell you about bookatailgate.com. That's Take It to the Grove. That's a tailgating and event service to where they'll come set it up. The flexibility remains all about their setup. You can do a single tent, you can do a double tent, you can do a TV, no TV. You can get catering delivered from certain places. So give them a call. Book your tailgate. Nice crowd Saturday night. Need to get it a little bit better. So go to www.bookatailgate.com and hook it up. They got single game and regular season. Give them a tryout for sure about that. Also, I want to tell you about La Terrain Watches, the official watch of the POMcast, where we're just as classy as you can get. You can see this website on the screen. Go to www.la-terrain.com. Promo code POMcast at checkout, and you can get a nice watch as well, and you kind of enjoy that as well. So I'm pretty excited about that as well. So I'm going to say as well as many times as possible. Also, if you want to watch the show, you can catch us on Twitter at the Stephen Willis or at Ole Positively, Facebook at facebook.com/POMcast. Or you can head over to YouTube at Positively Ole Miss. Subscribe, hit the bell. They have a fantastic notification system on YouTube. So if you click them, you'll not only know that we're streaming, you'll know what we're streaming about. And that'll be very important as far as determining whether or not you want to catch it live, because we do a lot of stuff live, or if you want to catch it on demand. So that's available for both people. A lot of turnover and movement with the number of views this week. Thank you very much for that. And also, you can catch us on Twitch at Positively Ole Miss, all one word, all lowercase. So, pretty excited about that as well. So, you can catch us there. Audio-wise, we're on Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Spotify, iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, Pandora, Amazon Music, and Audible. So you can catch us at pretty much any of your favorite spots. Leave us a 5-star review. You can say whatever you want to, but leave us a 5-star review. That's going to help us with the algorithm and people searching our site. So we appreciate that greatly. All right, like I said, this is a slightly recorded version. It's about 10:14, so we're not really that early, but we're going to the beach today. Taking the mom and the stepdad to the beach. We're going to go over to Clearwater, and we're going to have a good time. Don't worry, Beast of the East is going to return tonight, 8:30 Central, 9:30 Eastern as well. Also, this week we'll see the debut of Talking Ball with Bill Flowers on Thursday, and we'll have our preview and all that good stuff up as well. So thank you very much for tuning into that. Now, like we said before, if we were talking about the Austin Peay game. After the game, that means something happened. We're not really talking about the Austin Peay game. It kind of served its purpose. It was a short rest, one practice, exactly one. There's no service team. There's no game planning. It was almost like an NFL preseason game, literally, because the starters went out at a certain time. It was just like a preseason game, and not like the old style week 3 preseason game. It was more like the old style preseason game 2. But the offense was pretty. They clicked over 600 yards, over 300 yards rushing, over 300 yards passing, I believe, and somewhere in the 630 range. That's fine. The defense did a really good job. They gave up one garbage time touchdown, or it would have been 10. And I don't care who you are. If you would have been told before this season that the starting defense would have given up 10 points to a 1AA team, you would have taken it. You would have taken it in a heartbeat because of what happened in the recent past with 1AA teams. I think giving up 25, 30 points a game. And Florida State dropped a game in embarrassing fashion to Jacksonville State. So it could be worse. This game is an all landmine game, other than the chance to maybe develop depth if you severely outmatch the other team, which we did. So that's probably the only positive of a 1AA game. Other than that, it's just a schedule filler-outer. I'm a proponent of moving that game and those games to spring and let those replace the spring game. Take those FBS. They need that money. I understand that. Without that money, their program would be severely hampered. We'll let them come in and take their beating for the spring game. Everybody has spring practice about the same time, schedule one game. They're already doing it in baseball. I think Ole Miss is playing Alabama in fall ball and baseball this year. And you can work on some stuff. They can get their paycheck, and boom. If you have to, drop the season down to 11 games and do the spring game with FCS and just charge admission. You probably have a decent crowd just because of the severe lack of football in the spring. All right, before we move on, we are going to let's see, wrong button. We're going to do the game reaction stuff, and we're going to talk about it a little bit, and then we'll talk a little bit about Tulane. We got the lines next week, and we also have the top 6 playoff round. Hopefully, I'll be able to give you a little bit of time back today. I know everybody's busy, so thank you for tuning in. But here's the game recap.
Vaught-Hemingway Stadium, Oxford, Mississippi. Tonight it is the home opener for the number 20 Ole Miss Rebels. They welcome the Austin Peay Governors from the Ohio Valley Conference to town. Henry Parrish had a big game last year against LSU. Couple of touchdowns. Matt Corral on the run. The throw complete. A touchdown. They just keep hooking up. That's Dontario Drummond, his 7th consecutive game with a touchdown catch. And Ole Miss strikes first. Montana is back in. Quarterback goes in motion. Direct snap to Tanner. And he is stood up and dropped. Chance Campbell on the tackle. And Ole Miss will turn Austin Peay over on downs. They are 1 of 2 on 4th down. They've got 3rd and 11. Ellis flushed. He's hit from behind. Is it a fumble? Scooped up by Ole Miss. Sam Williams takes it into the end zone. A defensive touchdown. And the Rebels lead it 13-0. Take it down to the 13. Ellis flushed, trying to make something happen. He's knocked down from behind, dropped at the 34. This drop. Needed 1, got 14. And now Corral toward the end zone. He's got a man. That's Mingo on the receiving end. Touchdown. 2nd touchdown pass of the game. This time a 15-yard strike from Corral to Mingo.
To win. You can see that on the sideline.
High snap over the punter's head. That one rolls into the end zone. He kicks it out of the back of the end zone, so you'll have a safety. A flag comes in for, what, it'll be illegal touching, and Ole Miss will get the ball back. Ole Miss going for it here on 4th down. Corral keeps it, dumps it off to Drummond, gets a block and works his way up the sideline. Big play for Dontario Drummond, tightrope touchdown. 16. They're trying to go consecutive games in which they don't allow a point in the first half. This ball comes loose, and it's recovered by Ole Miss. Chance Campbell with the fumble recovery.
Moving and manipulating defenders by how he moves his eyes.
He dumps it, gets it to Braylon Sanders, into the end zone. Another first half touchdown pass. This time from 11 yards out, and Ole Miss leads 36-0.
The impact that Lane Kiffin has, he is such a unique personality. He's engaging. His guys really, everybody talks about Corral, but he's very engaged with all his players.
Mingo looked like he was almost to a knee. He was able to keep that knee off the ground. It's a 40-yard touchdown pass. That one looked easy, and Matt Corral had all the time in the world. Handoff instead to Snoop Connor. He bulldozes his way into the end zone for a rushing touchdown. There's a sack. Tywan Malone on the sack. That is his first major stat as an Ole Miss player. This is a 25-yard attempt, the right hash. And it's right down the gut, and that makes it 54-10. 5 touchdown passes tonight for Matt Corral, 336 yards rushing for Ole Miss collectively, and a win for the Rebels, 54-17.
All right, so, we're 2-0, and that's the best that you can be after 2 games. So, I got to just remind myself, too, going to the locker room, this was a challenging week with 2 less days, and we only had 1 day of practice. So I think to come out and play pretty well in the first half, was a good job by the players of getting that done. Got sloppy in the second half, and, unfortunately these games tend to do that. When they're lopsided, it's kind of hard to get them to come out and play the same way in the second half. But we did get to play a lot of players, so excited about that because we didn't in the first game. So it's good to get those guys on film and get them involved. And thought we gave up too many yards on defense. And we weren't very good on third down again, second week in a row on offense.
I feel like I've been doing okay. I feel like still some plays out there I left out there I still can do better, but I feel like I'm playing faster and more confident than last year. So just trying to keep building on that this week by week.
First off, I have a son that I have to, go hard for. And my coach always told me never let a man judge your heart or your effort. And I seen those articles, I took it to heart. And I won't ever let a man judge my heart or my effort anymore.
We've seen that from Sam all camp. He came back from this summer, just a different player. We struggle every day with him, blocking him in practice, with our ones on both sides. So I was just hoping that would carry over into the game. And I think what we're doing, we don't do as many things defensively, I think is helping him. And, like I've said, in the system we play, if your 2 ends aren't very good rushers, it's not a very good system. You only got 3 guys rushing, and they double the nose every time. So luckily we got, Sam and Cedric out there that give people problems.
I caught the ball and it popped out at the end. I just trying to keep it from touching the ground. I just feel like I had a touchdown, but got to control what I can control. So the rest of it was no touchdown. There was no touchdown.
When he get older, I want him to when people talk about me, it's always your dad was a great man. Your dad was a hardworking man. It's like that senior means a lot because he's a junior. So he represented me through his whole life because he has my name.
Yeah, I kind of went above the book a little bit on some, and that was just thoughts when we talked about it, saying, okay, we feel like our matchup's really good on offense. Our quarterback's hot, the 3 receivers are hot. So we may have some 4th and mediums that say punt or kick, and we're going to go for them because we like our percentages. And really should have thrown a touchdown to Drummond on the one versus cover 0 and waste a good play that would beat cover 0, and he's too casual with the ball, so that was kind of disappointing.
All right. That is the post-game stuff from the football game. Again, there's some stuff to work on. This, a lot of times when you play a 1AA team, you hope there are some sloppiness that is associated with that game to give the coach somebody to yell at, something to yell about, something to pick apart. And Lane Kiffin can absolutely do that with Tulane coming in. I think they scored 69 points last weekend against Morgan State. Now, it's another 1AA game, and maybe not a very good 1AA team, but that is the idea behind that. We're going to just blow through the break and just go ahead and talk about what's going on. We're not going to pay too much attention to the Austin Peay game anymore because it was, like I said, it was one of those things where if we're still talking about it on Monday, it's a problem. It's not really worthy of talking about at this point. It's all about Tulane. And Tulane has become a legit trap game for Ole Miss. They're a good team. They went up to Norman. Everybody saw that. They handled business against Morgan State and Birmingham last week. Remember, they're separated from home because of Hurricane Ida. So they're doing all of this on their own and on the road. They're coming into Vaught-Hemingway Stadium. They should be fairly excited. And Tulane, honestly, full disclosure, they're probably my second team. I always root for the Green Wave. I have the Angry Wave merchandise that I like to wear because I think the Angry Wave is the best logo in sports. So I rep it. It is something I really enjoy. I'm kind of a graphics nerd, and I just like it. And I like the, in their case, I guess, baby blue color. So it'll be interesting to see what they look like when they get to Vaught-Hemingway Stadium. Interesting to see what uniform we will wear to counteract there. I'm not expecting too much powder in that game because Tulane can also do that. This week, it's starting to come around. I've told you about it during the summer. But everybody is starting to come around on Matt Corral, and you're starting to see him go up betting list for winning the Heisman. In some places, he's second behind Bryce Young. There's going to be a matchup. If Ole Miss can get by Tulane, all you have to do is win by 1 point. There's no such thing as style points. Just win the game because they already have a close loss at Oklahoma. They've got the name recognition. Just win the game. Absolutely. And then get ready for Alabama and what will be an absolute zoo. But that's the reason I call Tulane a trap game. They're really good. And Alabama's 2 weeks behind it. It's going to be a major test. It's not one that I see us, a trap I see us falling into. Matt Corral is a very workmanlike, very businesslike approach. I do not believe it's going to fall through. Like I said, there's some things that need to be cleaned up. Of course there's things that need to be cleaned up. If we were a finished product in Game 2, we're only going to go down because, as Coach Cutcliffe used to tell us all the time, you're either getting better or getting worse. You're never staying the same. So building up to hit that high point needs to come October 2nd. Honestly, just needs to come October 2nd. And if it comes October 2nd, we could be in for a treat in that ball game. So that could be a lot of fun as well. So I'm very excited about what's going on. The Austin Peay game went about as you can expect. I think I saw some nerves from Luke Altmaier. Congrats on Tywone Malone getting his first sack as a Rebel. Also threw the first fin up I think I've seen this season. So that should become more of an effort type thing whenever the defense gets going. So, I want to do lines real quick, and I want to do our rankings. But if you did not watch the review show, you can catch the rankings. Let's see. You can catch the rankings here. Yes. Georgia's number one. They did in their game what we all thought Alabama would do to Mercer. So Alabama dropped down to 2. Georgia got the 1. That's the reason Alabama's at 2 and Georgia's at 1. Oklahoma's at 3 because there's nobody that can take their place. They haven't looked particularly good. Cincinnati is taking care of business and doing what they're supposed to do. Texas A&M dropped from 5 to 6 because they look terrible, and I want to see what this team looks like with Calzada at quarterback. There's a major speed bump, and Oregon moved up to 5 after beating Ohio State. Ohio State's the team that fell out. I did not feel comfortable moving Oregon from 12-ish all the way into the playoff. I'm not comfortable with a jump that high. They made it into the top 6. Also, for betting lines this week, there we go. Let's see. Betting lines this week. You have Alabama, a 15.5-point favorite over Florida in Gainesville. Florida, home dog. Listen, I know everybody is buying in on Alabama, and everybody was buying in because they thought Miami was good. And Miami almost got beat by Appalachian State. Now, is Appalachian State really good, or is Miami playing down to them? It's a game that they should have handled business, but they did not. So with all that explosive plays and everything going on defensively that Miami had in that game, is the Alabama offense we're accustomed to? Or is it, was week 1 a fluke? Alabama only gained like 390 yards in week 2. They won the game 48-14. They only gained like 390 yards. There are signs, I'm just saying, there are signs of a team that is regressing to the Jim McElwain type offense, like a modern version of it. So just keep an eye on that. Arkansas opened at 18. The line moved quickly to 23.5 against Georgia Southern. Is a game I expect to win. Arkansas is getting all the props in the world as they deserve them, getting the big win over Texas this weekend. Mississippi State favored by 3 points at Memphis. I want to see it, but State is just starting to win games. They're starting to win games. And by the end of the year, they could be very dangerous. By the Egg Bowl, that could be a hell of a game. Absolutely a hell of a game. Georgia opened up favored by 32. The line has gone to 30 over South Carolina. Georgia's really good. South Carolina is kind of rudderless at the moment. They eked by East Carolina Saturday, so they're 2-0. Can't take that away from them, but yeah, that's a little bit of a problem. Penn State opened up favored by 7. The line has moved to 6 against Auburn, a home game. Is Auburn for real? We will find out this weekend. Penn State 2-0. They're doing whatever they need to do defensively. It's going to be a hard ass for people. It's going to be a good football game. I'm looking forward to that one, although it will be on the same time as the Ole Miss Tulane game, by the way. LSU favored by 20.5 over Central Michigan. The line opened at 21. It's gone down. That is because Central Michigan might be sneaky good. They beat McNeese 34-7. You know, whatever's going on, the offense is not looking particularly good at the moment, but Central Michigan can sneaky score, so it's going to be on that offense to get some points. LSU making a system change in the middle of the Orgeron range just doesn't make much sense. Stanford's favored by 11. Line opened at 9 over Vanderbilt in Nashville. Vanderbilt should be leading the smart people's schools. They should be leading it. A step in the direction of doing that will be winning this game. Big win on the road for Clark Lee against Colorado State. Nobody gave them a chance after the way they looked against Tennessee State. They have a chance to make a mark. Stanford beat USC. They were a double-digit dog. Beat Southern California. Ole Miss is favored by 14.5. Line opened at 15 against Tulane. Tulane's a good team. They're a good team. Michael Pratt is a good player at quarterback. Chip Long is the offensive coordinator down there in New Orleans, and people might remember him in 2015 calling plays for, I think, Paxton Lynch or whatever. Or maybe he was the offensive coordinator when Mike Norvell came to Oxford the first time. I don't know. But either way, he's a good offensive coordinator. It's going to be a workman-like thing, and we need to kind of polish up what we're doing. Also, Oklahoma kind of going outside the footprint, favored by 22. It opened at 23 over Nebraska. This is the 50th anniversary game of the 1971 Classic that people pine over. going back. That's about 5 years before my time. So there is that. So we're going to give you some time back because that's what we do. Thank you very much for tuning in today. Hit all our sponsors. Get a watch. You can see our Facebook groups are in here as well. So we'll be putting it up there. Also, you can take it to a Grover call at Book a Tailgate. And, of course, call Travel and Cruise World. And we're working on some really cool sponsors down the road. So thank you very much. And we'll probably harp on the Matt Corral Heisman stuff as we move forward. Beast of the East tonight at 8:30 Central. Tomorrow, Best of the West at 8:30 Central. Wednesday, SEC After Dark, 8:30 Central. And we're going to, Thursday night, put up Talking Ball with Bill Flowers. So I'm looking very much for that. And Isaac Gross has agreed to be our guest on Rebel Rewind. We're trying to set up the time right now that we're going to do the interview. But next Sunday, he'll be the Rebel Rewind choice. So hope everybody had a good time. And we'll see you tomorrow. And, of course, howdy toddy.